sticks for the Bulls today. So the Mariners get us underway, just the 8th meeting between the two. The Mariners with 4 wins, the Bulls with 2, and just the 1 draw. Who wins today and why, Daniel McBreen?
Well, good afternoon, Simon and viewers. I'd have to say Central Coast Mariners would, their tails up, would have to be favourites today. The last 2 games for both of these teams couldn't be further apart. Mariners scoring for fun, had a team concede a red card against them, and it's been the opposite for Macarthur. Goals going in at the wrong end in abundance, and they obviously had a red card as well. So I think when you look at the 2 teams and the confidence factors, 3 Mariners players heading to the World Cup, they will be feeling extremely confident today.
And do you think that perhaps is why Dwight Yorke has run all those changes today?
Oh, look, I think so, yeah. He has to find that winning formula. It hasn't been, of late, hasn't been there, so he needs to try something new.
Kick up the backside for 1 or 2, perhaps. Jacob Farrell earning the throw for the Mariners. Nick Montgomery rates him as the best left-back in the competition. I'm sure it won't be too long before people start talking about him in terms of the Socceroos. Not just yet. Here's Josh Nisbet. Bit of a miscue off the boot of the midfielder. And Lockie Rose keeping Brian Kaltak honest. All the way back to Danny Vukovic, who in some ways was at the centre of a bit of a storm during the week with that non-selection of Mitch Langerak. Not that it's Vukovic's fault.
Well, it certainly caused a talking point amongst the football fraternity, didn't it? Everybody has their opinions, and all he can do is go out there and do what he does best, and that is protect those goals that he's in front of.
Toure turning straight into Nisbet, but he's got it back. Nisbet middling away at the heels. Kieran Bacchus taking control. Toure again. Back through Danny De Silva. Bulls wearing predominantly all black this afternoon. Matthew Miller, another former Mariner. Really relaunched his career in Gosford after a stuttering start in the A-League with Melbourne City. There's Brian Kaltak. It's an interesting stat. Only the 6th player from Oceania, or any of those nations in the OFC, to play in the A-League since its inception, which perhaps surprises me a little bit. Thought there might be a few more than that.
Kiwis aren't included in that, I'm assuming.
Excluding Kiwis, obviously. The island nations.
So what's the other 5?
Pleased you asked me that.
I knew you'd have it.
Roy Krishna, Brad McDonald, Ben Toure and Henry Fa'arodo. Dan Hall might make it 7 if he opts to play for Fiji. That's a foul on Jacob Farrell. Ball on the bench today for the Mariners. Touch clumsy from Noon. Tulio in behind. It's equal to it. He's played every minute so far this season for the Bulls, after missing the best part of the last 2 campaigns with injury. Nisbet. Farrell wants it. Lining up in the middle. This is Cummings, just a metre or so beyond him. Cushion header by Ballard, and the Mariners can start again through Nisbet. Bulls trying to press the Mariners and keep them penned in, and it's worked. Heavy off the chest of Nisbet, across from Noon. Lockie Rose rising at that back post. Will it sit for De Silva? Not quite. He was a little bit hurried with his finish. The Mariners have now got a problem with Nectar Triansis. who's got a whack to the head.
Yeah, just looked like a head clash, both Lockie Rose and himself going for the header. See there, just Lockie Rose just a fraction late.
Just craning the neck muscles and connecting with Rose as he flicked it away. Starting his third consecutive game in the heart of defence for Nick Montgomery. Nisbet looking to drive it through the guts of the Macarthur defence. It's an awkward one. Really well defended, in fact, by Ivan Vujica. Not an easy ball to get away.
No, it's not, and it's one facet of the game that Nick Montgomery is not afraid to utilise. I think we call it a long ball, but it's more of a pass, a direct pass. I think a lot of teams, I would say, don't use it as much as they could. You know, when defences press up and squeeze that midfield, it's always a great ball to try and catch them out in behind, and they do it so well, the Mariners.
Can't use long ball anymore, can you?
it's a dirty word.
Football profanity. Aquilina settling into life on the central coast of New South Wales after his switch from the Wanderers. Danny De Silva pinged for the foul, and the Mariners quickly on with it. They try to find Jacob Farrell at that back post. He was alive to that very possibility. Schumann getting his chance today. Developing under the tutelage of Glenn Moss, Bulls goalkeeping coach. Very experienced, of course, in his day with Wellington Phoenix, Newcastle Jets, one or two others, and the All Whites. That's a lovely touch from Lockie Rose. Took him clear just for the moment from Triantis. Mariners a little bit sloppy, picked up by Kieran Backus. Here's Jed Drew. A little too heavy.
It just looks a little slippery out there. A bit of drizzle coming down, and Mariners just not really accustomed to that. It just seems to be a little bit skippy off the surface. And sometimes passes and touches can go astray, as that one nearly did.
Ballard really having to stretch to maintain possession. Oh, cameraman nearly getting cleaned up there on the sideline. He's tough as soul boots, isn't he? He's all right. Finding themselves down in 10th spot at start of play after what was a fairly positive start to the season, but now 3 without a win. Desperate to get back on track today. Vujica. That's the return off Drew. Aspro. Vujica. Aquilina got a foot in. Tulia. Launched back forward though by Uscock for the Bulls. Off the head of Ballard, and then Miller. Finally De Silva puts his foot on the ball. Now with Drew. Challenge Aquilina. He's listed on the team sheet. He's playing centrally, Jed Drew, but it very much looks as though he's going to hug that left-hand touchline. There he is on the ball again, 19-year-old. Making his maiden start in the competition. Through the Northbridge Bulls, Macarthur's feeder club, under the tutelage of Stojovski, former Mariners' favourite, of course. Now Jacob Farrell for the Central Coast. They're piling forward the Mariners. And the shot from Cummings. Just lacking the accuracy in the end. It was a quick break forward from the home side.
Well, ultimately, great movement through the midfield here, and Farrell had a great run for Benny and Kalolo there in behind. Decided to come square. As Jason Cummins goes to take the strike, he's just falling away from it there, you can see. Which really takes away from his effort to get the power in the strike and the direction as well.
It's easy to forget, isn't it, just how much in the doldrums Jason Cummings' career was when he arrived in Australia, rather left on the sidelines by his last club in Scotland, Dundee. What a comeback.
Yeah, I was listening to his interviews during the week, obviously with his selection to the World Cup, and he said he'd like to thank Nick Montgomery and the Mariners because it felt like, in a way, that he was starting from scratch again, and they gave him a lifeline from nowhere, really. And he wanted to repay them, and in turn that has helped him now go to a World Cup. Fair play to him.
It's an interesting stat. Illustrates Macarthur's press has been reasonably effective. Now they can spring forward. Benny and Kalolo. Ballard. Tulio. It's the return off Aquilida. Cummings readjusted well. In the end, Prescott allows it to dribble over the byline. Just those little moments when they do get through the press, the Mariners, they look dangerous in that transition.
Yeah, they knock the ball around well, don't they? Use Cummings as a focal point as well. 1-2 touch into play.
This game, of course, the final action before the A-League goes into recess for the World Cup break. Oh, Vukovic has got in a terrible mess, and Macarthur opened the scoring through Al Hassan Toure. And Danny Vukovic, who's had such a good week, selected for Australia's World Cup squad, has made an absolute howler and presented Macarthur with the opening goal.
Well, you mentioned the Macarthur press, Simon, and it's on show again. I did think on the Harvey Norman replay here, as this pass comes in, I thought it was given Danny Vukovic at quite some pace and in a tight area, and you can see straight away Brian Kaltak saying, no, get that ball away. But it's a terrible mistake from Danny Vukovic, poor touch. And Al Hassan Toure is there, takes it with glee and tucks it away. Probably didn't get the best connection, but it probably helped him in the end as it bounced over Vukovic. But just calamity of errors really for the Mariners.
Well, the pass-back had probably a bit too much pace on it, but it's one of those moments as a goalkeeper where you just want the earth to open up and swallow you. Al Hassan Toure accepting the gift with glee. His first goal for the Bulls. And that wasn't in the script so far as the Central Coast were concerned. And here come the Bulls again. It's going to get away from Toure, that one. Quite a strong breeze, as you can see, with the corner flag billowing away there.
Well, you did mention the press, Simon, and we also mentioned the slippery and wet conditions. A number of occasions before that mistake, the Mariners had seen a pass or two go astray, a touch just almost given away, and then to fire a ball like that with the wind and the conditions back to your keeper with an attacker almost on the 6-yard line, it was asking a lot. Maybe Danny Vukovic may have just thought, well, should have put the boot through it and got rid of it.
It's going to be a Bulls free kick. Let's quickly get out to Tristan McManus. Afternoon, Tristan.
Hey, Simon. Yeah, look, listening to the both of you, you're dead right. It wasn't in the script, but it was certainly on the wall. I've been listening to both coaches here. Dwight has been making it clear to his forward line that, in his words, they're an awful lot better than the back line of the Mariners. Monty's been shouting at Nisbet he's playing too deep. They've seen with all the passes that the pitch is too... The ball's moving on the pitch too much. They shouldn't be playing those back passes to Vuk at the moment. But Nisbet, he wants him forward. Dwight wants his forwards right on that back line as far as they can, because, like I said, in his words, they are a lot better than Mariners' back line.
Well, they're proving it at the moment, that's for sure. Thanks, Tristan. Mariners with all the possession, but a lot of it has been in their own half of the pitch again. They have to struggle to retain possession, but they've done so this time. Jonathan Aspro across to provide cover. He's got pretty heavy strapping on that right hand. Maybe a dislocated finger. Here's Ballard. It's just not quite there, the telepathy between Nicololo and Aquilina.
You can see what Aquilina was thinking. He was trying to get in behind his opposite number, and Buica wanted a ball in behind. See 103 passes to 40. Mariners with plenty of possession, plenty of ball, but mainly down their own end.
Well, Macarthur won't care about that. They have the lowest possession of any of the A-League teams over the course of the journey so far. It's goals that count. That's a good turn. Strong play by Ayungo. Only partly away by Miller. It almost set for Cummings. Here's Farrell. Gets it back off Cummings. Tulio with the cross. Macarthur a bit stretched, but they survive. That's lifted the home crowd. Nisbet back wide. For Tulio. Nisbet stretching to keep it in play. Backus got a foot in. It's well played by Kieran Backus. Pressure relieved on Macarthur.
He's done well defensively there. There was 2 occasions where Jacob Farrell had the ball just on the edge of the box, and you could hear the crowd baying him to shoot. These are the perfect conditions. The strike run low and hard, skips off the surface.
Montgomery can still trap a ball. Ball is caught. Mariners square again. Jed Drew, plenty of space here. Drew across the face of one. Vukovic looked for a moment as though it's going to squirm out of his grasp. And he grabbed it at the second attempt.
Just enough, didn't he? Bobbing straight back to the look here. As he gets across, he gets down. He does bring it back into his body. He's able to smother it. Santure again there for any mistake.
Strong run by Miller. Vukovic preventing the corner. Still pretty early on in the game, but so far you'd say that all those changes made by Dwight York have worked. Oh. Let's call that missed time, shall we, from Benny and Kalolo. to say the very least.
It's mistimed. I don't think there was any malice. I think he was just really slow at getting that leg around.
Bulls have wasted the free kick. Here's Jacob Farrell. Yongo just having a check. It's not where he wanted it, and the Bulls are back on the attack. Lovely ball by Noon. It's Rose in behind. Was there any contact from Caltac? Lockie Rose thinks so. Daniel Elder says no. VAR will look at it, of course.
It was great play from Macarthur, wasn't it? Win the ball, straight ball forward to Noon. He then opened up the defence as well with a lovely pass behind. And Lockie Rose, he's always a danger. He's so energetic. Offside there. Here we go. We see Noon. And look at the run. You can see exactly where he wants the ball. Lovely weighted pass. Just gets it caught under his feet.
Any infringement there for you, Macca?
There is a clip on the heels, isn't there?
Well, when a player throws his arms up in the air, it can sometimes be a bit of a giveaway, can't it?
Well, there was definite contact. And to be honest, it was probably enough to say that it was enough to bring Lockie Rose down.
Miller, nice 1-2 with De Silva. Beyond Lockie Rose. Chested down by Ballard. Nkololo. Long, rangy stride. Here's another look at it. Yeah. Certainly a suggestion that Caltac played the man and not the ball.
Well, I think if it was given, let's say, if it was given, I don't think we could really complain, or Caltac could complain too much about it.
However, minimal VAR intervention is probably what we like. Macarthur fans might disagree. Here's Nisbet. And of course, they're looking for clear and obvious errors in the decision-making process. So maybe there wasn't enough to suggest that was the case. Bulls are hungry today. Dwight York has clearly read the riot act. Very much second best in New Zealand last week. They've been at it right from the off today. Rose. Bacchus. Miller. Driven back by Ayongo. Calmly done by Farrell. Sold a little bit short by the pass from Nisbet.
Well, that's been the problem today for the Mariners, is that the press has been so good for Macarthur. They're forcing the Mariners to really overplay to get out. And the conditions, as we say, slippery pitch. The touch has to be perfect. All it takes is one stray pass or errant touch, and you can put yourself under pressure.
Torre, score of the game's only goal so far. Worked wide by De Silva. Touched by Vujica. Drew. Well, that's clever from Jet Drew. Goes into space. That's brilliant from the youngster. Gets a corner.
That's well there, doesn't it?
Did him with the eyes, didn't he?
Just threw the dummy for the pass inside and a little drag back inside. It was a great run.
Came through the Sydney FC Academy, Jed Drew. Got his senior opportunity with the Bulls. First corner of the game, which Noon delivers. Pops out for Bacchus here. Off the head of Aspro. Well, Craig Noon, you might remember, at this ground last year, scored a Pushkas contender.
Well, I think we all thought that as he started winding up. I'm sure Nick Montgomery did as well. Not again.
Not quite. Just to underline how good the Bulls have been. Since the Mariners conceded those 2 goals against Western United here a few weeks back, they've scored 7 unanswered goals in 135 minutes, 1 every 20 minutes. The Bulls have got a goal that matters so far and arrested that particular trend. The Mariners were the architects of their own downfall in terms of the pass back from Triantis and the miscue from Vukovic. Matthew Miller drawing the ball and he finds Kaltak. Aspro, former Central Coast Mariner, of course, himself. 13 games back in season 18-19. And the Mariners were wooden spooners again. Haven't they improved since those days? Which is a testament to the work initially of Alan Stajic and latterly Nick Montgomery. Presenting it straight to Nisbet. Farrell. Ballard. Now it might open up for the Mariners. Ball from Cummings a little bit betwixt and between. Kalolo's off. Gets the cross in. Too close to Schumann. Good find, hasn't he, for Nick Montgomery, Benny and Kalolo. Must admit, I was one of those who looked at his CV when he arrived. Like handball by Touré. He's playing in the 3rd division in France. You wondered whether he was going to be up to the standard, but he certainly has been.
Well, I'll have to agree with you. After the first few games, it took him a little while to settle in, didn't it? He wasn't really seeing it, and all of a sudden he just grew into the game, grew into himself. Really exploded onto the scene. Some wonderful goals, assists as well.
There's going to be a booking here for Jonathan Aspro. Yeah, too much mouth, I think, is the signal from Daniel Elder. Talked his way into the book. On the assistant referee as well.
He didn't really seem to say anything, did he? He just gave a little bit of a get out of the way.
Just back in the team after that controversial red card against Sydney FC. Fenton White, the assistant referee on that far side. Here's Lockie Rose again in the tangle with Kaltak. And this is going to be a card for Brian Kaltak. It's a straight red. Daniel Elder, who sent off Hiroshi Ibasuki, you might remember, in his last game in charge in the match between Sydney and Adelaide, went straight to his top pocket and has sent off Brian Kaltak for that challenge on Lockie Rose. And that has stunned Central Coast Stadium. And there's no doubt it's a foul.
I think it's definitely a foul, but even if he doesn't foul. They're still next to each other. Is he running towards goal? He's running away from goal.
That's a big call. Is it a controversial one? I'm sure you've got your own opinions at home.
Just talking there. Just talking.
Nick Montgomery trying to stay calm in the face of adversity. Of course, VAR can overturn it if they deem it a clear and obvious error, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case.
Well, I don't think they'll overturn it. I must admit, my first reaction was, oh yeah, it's a foul and he's going to give him a yellow card, and when I saw it was a red, I couldn't believe it. But
well, he got away with one earlier, didn't he, Brian Kaltak?
Yeah.
And we thought might have been a penalty on Lockie Rose.
Are you saying it's a square up?
No.
Look, I think it's he's hard done by for a red card. I think it was definitely a foul. It was Lockie
Rose.
I almost said Wales there. Was he going? I think he's being called over. This may be overturned because I don't think he was going.
Or what? No, I think he's actually going to book
Montgomery.
One of the Mariners coaching staff. It might be Nick Montgomery. We'll get that confirmed. Oh. Wow. To say they're not happy is an understatement. Sam Kelly's bearing the brunt of it, the fourth official, and Daniel Elder right at the eye of the storm once again. Boy, oh boy. The upshot is a free kick to the Bulls, a goal to the good, and now a man to the good. And Al Hassan Toure, well, Cristiano Ronaldo, that was not. That's what he was trying to do. Knuckleball. VAR incidentally upholding that decision. I don't think really they had any other option.
Yeah. Once the decision was made, I don't think you could say it was a clear and obvious error. I think it was just a shot. I think it was a red card. I think we're going to see a substitution now with Dan Hall coming in to replace that centre-back position.
Yeah, it's going to be Marco Tullio's the unlucky man to be sacrificed. They have to do that defensive rejig. Uttering a few words in Portuguese to Daniel Elder. He's going, you've ruined my day, mate.
That's what I'd be saying too if I was the striker getting hooked.
That's no reflection on his performance. Somebody has to be sacrificed. Well, tough afternoon now in prospect for the Central Coast. But you have to say, in general play, the Bulls have been good value for their advantage.
Oh, they have, yeah. They've pressed wonderfully well. They've had a couple of good movements themselves with the ball. Lockie Rose, again, causing problems for me. I'd have him starting every week. He's just so much energy, drive going forward. He's always causing problems. And we've seen today he's probably had a shout for a penalty. He's had an opposition player sent off for bringing him down. And they've really kept the Mariners, who we all were tipping to be too confident and too good, really quiet today.
We should know by now, never predict the A-League.
I wonder which shirt Tristan McManus is wearing on the sideline down there today.
No, it's Adelaide.
As long as it's not Wanderers, you'll really upset in Montgomery. He's not in the best of moods, I don't think, at the moment, Tristan.
No, he's not. He was clearly against that decision. Macarthur wanted him off as quick as he could. He's been questioning an awful lot of the decision so far, and rightly so, I think. I mean, look, from my point of view as a fan, I always thought last man, you're going off if there's a foul there. There's a clear push there, but obviously that's the conversation, isn't it, when you play the game and when you watch the game?
Yeah, well, I guess there's a few variables, isn't there? Last man doesn't form any written part of the rules, but it is a consideration.
Well, I suppose the wording is denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity.
Dog-so.
Yeah.
Was it dog-so or not so for you, Maka?
I'm unsure. I'll have to see it again and again.
Here come the Mariners. Advantage played. There was a foul. But Daniel Alder's let it go. Here's Cummings. Nkololo. Nisbet wanted it square. Nice little pirouette by Nkololo. Oh, that could have gone anywhere. Off the left peg of Miller. And now Daniel Elder is going to issue the card to Tomislav Uskov, I think, for that challenge. So now both Macarthur central defenders, if that is correct, are walking the tightrope. Yeah. Infringement on Ayongo.
Tommy Uskok obviously doing Movember, yeah?
It's better than yours.
Hey, well, easy.
Solid bit of growth there.
All for a good cause.
Yours could blow off in this win. Well, set pieces might represent Mariners' best opportunity. With Kaltak dismissed, it's Nkololo to deliver the corner. Flipped away off the head of Jonathan Aspro. Drury can't maintain possession. Cummings to go cross field. Nkololo. Oh, a little slip by Farrell, which is unfortunate. Right at the crucial moment.
Oh, it wasn't a bad sequence of play there from the Mariners. Overlapping run from Farrell. As you say, just slipped at the opportune moment.
Red cards coming bang on the half-hour mark, so 2/3 of the game. The Mariners will have to play. Man short.
I guess that red card will be one that if you ask the Macarthur staff, they'll say it's a clear red, and you ask the Mariners staff, they'll say no chance.
Here's Farrell. Oh, he was caught late there by Miller, and Daniel Elder's going to go to his pocket again. And it's a yellow. Make that 3 of the Bulls' back 4. Now on cautions. Oh, he was really reaching for that, wasn't he? Home fans unhappy that it's only yellow.
This game's now starting to feel like there's going to be a lot more drama to unfold.
Few chanting for VAR. You can't upgrade a yellow. Benny and Nkololo. Sinking in the big ones, assessing the options. Nick Schumann's been untested so far. Is that about to change? Kololo's delivery. Schumann with the comfortable take. So important they get those set-piece deliveries right, given the circumstances of the game now. Cheer of the day so far from the home supporters.
They haven't had too much to cheer about, to be honest, have they? Goal down, a player off, only one shot in the game, none on target. It's down to Macarthur. The way they've pressed, the way they've played when they've won the ball.
Triantis. Straight at Miller. Rocky Rose again worrying the Mariners' back line. His pace and tenacity. It's been a headache. He's led the press in many ways. Nisbet. It's a lovely ball by Josh Nisbet. And drilled in, I think that might have hit the post. Schumann might have got a touch as well. Ayongo can't reel it in, and the Bulls scramble it clear. Come off the up of Toure. Throw-in suffices.
I think Aquilina nearly caught Schumann napping there, didn't he? Really snuck it in at that near post area.
Mariners looking to mount a response before half-time. There it is. Oh, it took a deflection as well.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was probably the goalkeeper that collided with the post rather than the ball. He did well to readjust though, Schumann. Good save in the end.
It seemed the red card has woken the Mariners up a little. They've had a little bit of a good spell since then. A few attacking forays.
Yeah, the Bulls would be wise not to get sloppy. Maybe it's a natural instinct, Macca, when you have that extra man to just relax just a touch.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes subconsciously you think, okay, a little easier for us. We've got the extra man. We're a goal up as well.
The Bulls' brains trust. Dwight York, Russell Latapi, Anthony Crea, along with goalkeeping coach Glenn Moss. Overall, they must be very satisfied with the way this first half has panned out. Vukovic was short of options, and so too is Josh Nisbet here. Again, it's credit to the pressing of Macarthur. Mariners get the verdict, but they've been very, very diligent in their work. Touch from Nkololo. Oh, it's unfortunate for Cummings. Just struck him on the heel. Vujica. Noon. Vujica had continued his run. It's not a bad ball in either. Play by Farrell for now. Further clear by Nisbet. Picked up in the deep by Uskok. Jedru. Noon have swapped flanks for the moment. Just to give Jacob Farrell something a bit different to be concerned about. Matthew Miller. As we head towards half-time, Macca, I guess from Nick Montgomery's point of view, the longer they can stay in the game, perhaps later on they can turn to their bench, bring on the likes of Garan Qual, Sammy Silvera, which they did to such good effect last week.
Yeah, they did. And he has that luxury of bringing those attacking-minded players on who can actually change a game in a moment. And I guess we spoke about that subconscious of maybe relaxing once you're a player up. It also goes the other way. You start to get that steely team ethic of we're a player down, let's work together and do the extra that you need to do.
Also, I omitted Michael Roos from that list as well. He scored twice last week against the Wanderers. Here's Ballard. A bit too high, but Benny and Kololo did well. Here's Jason Cummings. And a lash at it. Uskok in the way. Reset through Nisbet. Aquilina and Kololo. Quite get the feet working in the right order.
Sometimes like that with Benny and Kalolo, isn't it? At times, I think that's why it's so hard for defenders. At times it seems like he doesn't know what he wants to do until it just happens. He just lets the feet do the thinking for him. Sometimes it's magnificent, and sometimes it goes over the sideline like the last time.
Mentioned the Mariners bench. Macarthur's ain't bad either. Daniel Arzani. Ayongo. Matthew Miller on the booking. He's got to watch his step. Just back to the Bulls bench. Anthony Carter and Bashana Arabuli, the Georgian that we haven't seen as yet in Bulls colours. So plenty of options for both teams. Farrell's cross into the final minutes of the 2 additional. The end of the first half. Drew.
Well, he had to get that right, Farrell, didn't he? All or nothing there.
Backus quickest to react. Cross steered away by Triantis. Aspro. And that is half-time, a rather eventful first 45 minutes. Al Hassan Toure with his first of the campaign, putting the Bulls ahead after 14 minutes. After Nektar Triantis' back pass was a bit too hot to handle for Danny Vukovic. And then the big talking point came after half an hour. Brian Kaltak dismissed for the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity when he brought down Lockie Rose. Plenty to think about for the Central Coast Mariners at the break. They trail the Macarthur Bulls by a 1-0. We're off to a quick break. On the other side of it, Tara, Roy and Alex will assess the first half action. Don't go away.
This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu Ute. After every game, our experts vote for the Isuzu Ute Player of the Match, and at the end of the season, the winner is awarded the Alex Tobin Medal. The Tobin medalist will then nominate their junior football club of choice to win a brand new top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX during the grand final in May. To stay in touch with the leaderboard, visit 10play.com.au.
Hassan Toure is the man of the moment so far as the Macarthur Bulls are concerned. The only goal of the game coming just prior to the quarter-hour mark after that mistake from Danny Vukovic. Nick Montgomery has some pretty handy weapons on the bench. There's one of them. Garan Kuol, Sammy Silvera and Michael Roos, two of the others that he may use. Intriguing second half ahead. Just to echo the thoughts of the team at half-time, Dwight York will know that this game is far from won. They've had defensive issues in the last couple of matches, and the Mariners do tend to come good in the second halves of matches, particularly of late. There's Kelechi John going through some late instructions. Wonder whether he might be in line to come on. All to be revealed in the second half. At the moment it's the Bulls sitting pretty with that one-goal advantage. Daniel Elder, who's been at the centre of all the drama in the first half, gets us back underway. A reminder, the Bulls in predominantly all black, kicking from right to left in the second half. Danny McBreen, what will have been the message, particularly from Nick Montgomery at the break? How do they play this? He's not made any changes as yet, which is probably to be expected.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that maybe they'll look to see out the next 15-20 minutes, see what they can get out of it. And then after that, I think he'll start looking to his bench, the likes of Garan Kuol, Sammy Silvera, and Michael Roos, and say, well, let's go for it. We're down, we may as well go all or nothing to go and get something from this game.
Nice little drop of the shoulder from Danny De Silva. Punches it out wide for Toure. Vujica. Square by Spro for Uskok. Vujica didn't quite get enough on that. Off the chest of Oyongo, turned in field by Cummings. Mariners claiming a foul on Max Ballard. Macarthur continue. What a ball in that was from Jed Drew. Lockie Rose applauds it.
Well, he's caused all kinds of problems today, Lockie Rose. And you watch as the ball comes out. Watch the run here. He holds off and he takes off and he almost catches Dan Hall napping. Does just enough to get a foot onto it. But that movement today has been of a high quality standard from him.
Credit to Dan Hall, who had to stretch and had to make that. Fortunately for the Mariners, he did. Let's produce this corner. Craig Noon with the ball in, and that's two. It's Jonathan Aspro. Would you believe it? His first ever A-League men's goal in game number 101. And the Mariners have it all to do now. They trail by 2-0. Well,
it's all rather too easy, wasn't it? Good delivery into the around that 6-yard area. Harvey Norman replay shows Jonathan Aspro-Potomides just gets up early. Mistimed header from Aquilina, and there's nothing that Vukovic could do about that one. See, not much movement, just gets up strong, good header. And he's been working on his celebrations for quite a while, maybe his first goal in 101 games, but comes in a timely manner in the game. And there it is. He's been waiting a long time to rip that one out.
Against his former club as well. He did score one in the Australia Cup, round of 32 against the Magpies Crusaders for the Bulls. You might also remember him scoring Perth Glory's first ever Champions League goal against Shanghai Shenhua, but never before in the A-League up until that moment. And there is a stunned silence around Central Coast Stadium. Mariners such red-hot favourites ahead of this game, but it just has not panned out that way.
No, when you look at the form of the two teams over the past two rounds, there was many people that would have seen the Macarthur victory.
There goes Farrell inside the box, and Daniel Elder blows the whistle for offside, not the penalty the Mariners thought they were going to get.
Fans got that one wrong. He was pointing to the spot, but offside a little bit too early. I just wonder if that goal early in the second half makes Nick Montgomery think any different. Does he get his young chargers out there early? Does he have faith in the guys out there to continue?
Well, he's deep in discussion with his number 2, Sergio Raimondo. I think they've got to go for it, to be honest. Tight call, but it's a good call by Lance Greenshields.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree with you, Simon, that it looks like they're going to do something with the discussions going on. 2-0 down. There's nothing to lose now, really, is there? Those young, confident players on.
Mariners have only lost 3 times on their own turf in 2022. Melbourne City, Sydney and Perth, the trio. Here's Drew. And it'll be a corner off Farrell. We're seeing the re-emergence of the Australia Cup holders. They've had a sticky few weeks, no wins in their last 3. Very good so far this afternoon, albeit against 10 men since the 30-minute mark. Moves corner, and Aspro was in there again, foraging for a second. Quick release from Vukovic. Cummings. Again, that press keeps the Mariners at bay. Dan Hall. Farrell looking to bend it around. It's a super ball, and Cummings was onto it, and so too for the balls was Ivan Vujica. What about that for a release?
Fantastic ball. Nice run. Vujica actually caught on the wrong side of the defender. Just popped up. He couldn't get it under control. Jason Cummings just there. Just gets away from him. Allows Vujica back in.
Lovely vision from Jacob Farrell. The result is this corner for the Mariners. Kololo, and an easy claim for Schumann.
Goal kick forward going out, I think.
Yep, bent straight out of play from Benny and Kololo. Ball's in no particular hurry. Oh, here's trouble. Get on with it, says the referee. They have been instructed to do that. Maximum amount of minutes where the ball is in play. That was the brief at the start of the season, including clamping down on challenges on attacking players as well, of course, the results of which we've seen. A whole spate of red cards.
Speeding the game up. The big bugbear of mine is when an opposition player picks the ball up when it's not their free kick. I think I've mentioned that one before. It slows the game down no end.
Super ball. Ayongo in behind, and Vujica again to the rescue. However, offside again. Garang Kuol is being readied along with Sammy Silvera for the Mariners. Shirt on Garang, that'd help. Well, Sammy Silvera scored an absolute peach off the bench last week against the Wanderers to seal that 3-0 win for the Mariners. Garang Kuol played his part as well, 2 assists. The 2 Michael Roos goals. Never has their abilities been more needed than now for the Central Coast. Double change. Benny Kololo gets his number called. And it's Paul Ayongo who takes his leave as well. As we get to see the introduction for one last time before the World Cup of Garang Kuol. We're not going to get many more opportunities after the World Cup either. Off, of course, to Newcastle United in the Premier League in January. Can they be the spark for the Central Coast? And goodness knows they need it.
They definitely need it today. It's been a very flat performance from the start. Yes, the red card hasn't helped, but even before that, Macarthur have put them under immense pressure.
The second goal came from a set piece delivered by Craig Noon. Let's see if the Mariners have learned their lesson. Bushcock and Aspro are in there again. Noon can only find Jason Cummings. Back in by Vujica. Good touch by Toure. And then by Miller for Rose. Hustled out of it by Triantis. Balls will reset through De Silva. Now Noon. Bacchus. Noon again. They're working the ball nicely here, but a little bit overhit that by Craig Noon. Mariners just can't get out. And Jed Drew has a bit of space here. Charged down by Nisbet. And a Bulls corner.
There's a couple of shouts for handball there.
Larzani awaiting his opportunity. Another one hugely disappointed, no doubt, not to have made the World Cup squad. So much competition for places in that attacking part of the field. Noon's latest quarter. De Silva. Bulls happy to play the game at their pace. Why wouldn't they be? 2 goals to the good. Oh, it's going to be a card too, I fancy. Jacob Farrell.
Well, I don't think you can have any complaints here. Very late. Nowhere near the ball. It's just a little bit of frustration, really. Just never going to get the ball.
Noon. Ball a bit too strong for him. Put forward by Farrell. Quite stick for Silvera. Given away though by De Silva. Good stretch by Vujica. He's had a good game at left back. Bacchus lost his footing and handled the ball inadvertently. Mariners eager to get on with it. Silvera. And Bacchus trying to atone for his error. Has only managed to foul himself into the referee's notebook.
was just a comedy of errors there, wasn't it? And just tries to sneak around the back.
Big family celebration, no doubt, this week for the Bacchuses, with Keanu being named as part of Graham Arnold's squad to go to Qatar. The Mariners find a toe hold in this contest. The set-piece deliveries have not been that clever so far. Let's see if this is any better. Silvera, not bad. Back post was Hall, and towards goal on the volley, Garang Kuol. Not enough power or direction.
Well, that was a great opportunity, wasn't it? Great ball in, back into that area, and he's 6 yards out in front of goal. Garang Kuol really should be tucking that away, and that would have really changed the complexion of the game.
Seemed to come off his calf. Just couldn't readjust quickly enough. Tidy work by the Mariners. XG might be slightly in favour of the Mariners, but fortunately for them, it's not the stat that counts. Here's Ballard. Silvera. This looks more threatening. Still Silvera. Oh, horrible clash of legs. The Mariners have scored. And Jason Cummings is claiming that it should stand, but the whistle had already gone from Daniel Elder. Not the first time that's happened to Jason Cummings this season. And he is furious. Let's have another look at it.
Sammy Silvera there gets his foot across. Yeah, he's collected Al Hassan Toure. And the referee hasn't really waited at all, has he? And while he's blown the whistle, Jason Cummings has put it in the back of the net.
And if he waits just a fraction of a second longer, then it's a goal. VAR has upheld that decision. Not a goal, but a penalty, and Cummings will still have the chance to get on the score sheet and get the Mariners back in the game. And Nick Schumann prevented from doing that. He can! Fine save from Nick Schumann. And the Mariners will feel that the whole world is against them at the moment.
Yeah, they'll be furious. Great save from Nick Schumann. Let's not take that away from him.
Here's Kuol. Oh, Macarthur, he dodged a bullet. At the very least, it might offer the Mariners some encouragement. They don't need that, though, from Farrell.
Well, the substitutes have made a difference, haven't they, already?
No doubt. Here's Cummings. Through the legs of Bacchus. Kuol, very heavy traffic. Ball goes down. Penalty again. 2 penalties in the space of 2 minutes. Incredible.
And then this time, this occasion, he waited a second to see how the play unfolded. Nothing was doing. And then he pointed to the spot. And it looks like Garang Kuol is going to take it himself this time. It was a nice little play from Cummings. It's played out there.
It's just inside the area, isn't it?
Well, what was it?
It's very tight. Well, Cummings has been waved away this time. Garang Kuol is going to take the responsibility. VAR just checking that it was inside the box. Can Nick Schumann pull off another save? The Mariners reinvigorated by the substitutions. Same thing happened last week against the Wanderers. VAR still checking. They've got the all clear. So Garang Kuol against Nick Schumann from 11 metres. No mistake from Garang Kuol, who adds to his burgeoning reputation. About to hit the world stage with the Socceroos, and he's got the Mariners back in this game.
Well, he has a habit of doing it, doesn't he? And I said I think there was some more action brewing in this. Harvey Norman replay shows he's just on the line there as he gets his foot stood on, sorry. And he steps up and he goes with power straight down the middle. 2-1, and the Mariners are back in this game. And that young man, as he makes a real habit of doing, has had an impact since coming on.
Well, he's really put the laces through that one, hasn't he? Showing his Socceroos teammate how it should be done.
And before those substitutions, Macarthur were doing such a good job of quelling the Mariners' attacks that the crowd was taken out of the game. And all of a sudden, there's a little bit of life in this game yet.
Well, you remember at this venue a few weeks back, Western United were 2 goals clear. And then a red card changed that game. And back roared the Mariners. If they come back again, a man short this time, remember. Would be extraordinary. They've got a chance here. Schumann's out to meet Farrell, and he couldn't divert his effort goalwards. The presence of the goalkeeper perhaps was enough, but Macarthur hearts in mouths there.
Well, it was a great run, and what a ball that is from Dan Hall. And he just gets his angles wrong with the way he tries to strike the ball. Uses the outside of the foot, just to almost toe poke it past the keeper.
We're going to see the introduction of 2 attacking players for Macarthur. Daniel Arzani, and it's going to be a debut for Bashana Arabuli. Lockie Rose to be withdrawn. He was good in the first half in particular. And Al Hassan Torre, who netted the opening goal, of course, is also replaced. Well, plenty of life left in this game. Never write off the Mariners. And there's a fair bit more concern on the faces of Dwight York and Russell Latapi on the sidelines.
Yep, well, we just heard Dwight York there saying we need to get on the ball and hold the ball again. The Mariners have crept into this game, a man down.
Kalina and Ballard getting in each other's way then. Arzani colliding with his opponent. He's a little slow to his feet. Mariners are going to make what looks like a double change. Kelechi John and Michael Roos are standing by. They're just putting the bibs back on for the moment. Free kick floated in by Noon. Uscott climbed highest. A little stumble by Aspro. He's back on his feet now, though. De Silva trying to place it. Spoons up in the air off the head of Triantis. Now with Arzani. No way through. Garang Kuol races clear. There was a foul there. Good advantage played. It's Aquilina leading the charge for the Mariners. And this is going to be a card for Arzani, fresh off the bench. What a last 20 minutes we've got here.
Well, so Mariners players are protesting about the original foul of Garang Kuol back at in his own half, as we see here as he steals the ball. Great play again. As he just looks that ball inside, I'm not sure who that was actually, just sticks a leg out. There's a clear yellow card in my mind, and then a little bit of UFC from Daniel Arzani.
Quite acrobatic it was too. Turned him a caution. Garang Kuol is back up and about. Graham Arnold can breathe easier.
Craig Noon, I think, has just got a yellow card for that challenge.
He's been a busy man, hasn't he, Daniel Elder? I'll make that 6 yellow cards that he's issued to Macarthur players. 1 red, 1 yellow to the Mariners, along with a caution for Nick Montgomery on the sidelines. The fans have certainly had good value for money. Trying to get behind the home side. Silvera's free kick. Mariners throw. Corner ball. Well, you've got to hand it to the Central Coast. Playing with 10 men since the half-hour mark. Confirmation of the yellow card situation. Brian Kaltak, remember, dismissed for the Mariners after 30 minutes. Silvera's corner. Thumb clear by De Silva. Done by Triantis. Touch forward by Hall for Nisbet. Now Farrell. Plenty of time to think about it. He tings it across and finds Garang Kuol. Oh my words! Oh my goodness! That is simply extraordinary. That is, ladies and gentlemen, Garang Kuol. 2-2. He is such a talent. They can't believe it. I'm not sure we can either.
Well, if there are any doubters about this young man's ability, just keep watching. He is unbelievable. Harvey Norman replay. First touch is sublime. It's a great ball from Jacob Farrell to the back post. The first touch there, fantastic. The strike on that angle, absolutely brilliant.
You are watching something very, very special emerging on the Central Coast of New South Wales. He's not going to be there for long. Watch out, world. Garang's coming.
Well, I for one cannot wait for the next 20 minutes, and then I can't wait to see his minutes against the best of the best in the world. He is a supreme young talent.
And again, he's changed the game off the bench. I suppose the only question left is, when's he actually going to start a game? What a talent. And the Bulls are stunned. They've made a change whilst you were watching those replays. Charles Mombwa has replaced Craig Noon. And that lead has evaporated against the resurgent Mariners. What price of Garang Kuol hat-trick ahead of his flight to Qatar? You wouldn't bet against it, would you, Macca?
Not with the talent, the belief of this young man that he has. Most people on that angle wouldn't even attempt the strike. They'd look for the cross, look for someone central. It never even crossed his mind.
And it was almost past Nick Schumer before he could react.
Yeah.
Michael Roos is about to enter the fray. The expense of Max Ballard, I think. Yep, he jogs off on that far side. Nectar Triatis is the other player to be replaced as Kelechi John enters the fray. Well, what a remarkable plot is unfolding in Gosford. Aspro underneath that, it drops here though for Aquilina. Yeah, not quite Garanquil.
So he was trying to poke that towards goal, a teammate, or bring it down on that occasion. He's the man of the moment, isn't he?
Well, we're almost running out of superlatives, aren't we?
I was going to say, he's been the man of the moment for so long now. Such a young age, he just keeps on delivering.
He can jump too. Exciting, not just Mariners fans, but I dare say Socceroos supporters all over the country.
I just keep having visions of Australia, France, 1-0 down, and this young fella coming on and really turning it on. Am I wishful thinking?
You never know. Obviously that stage is slightly higher level, isn't it? But we'll see. Drew's cross. Kelechi John needed to make that. Macarthur trying to clear their heads. They were so comfortable for so long. Williams' cross fended away by Kelechi John. Back in by Bacchus. Here's Arabulik. Marzani trying to bend it. He was the player that got us all excited 4 years ago, wasn't he? Ahead of the World Cup in Russia. This time it's Garanquil. Getting involved. Colina just showing a little bit too much of it to Aspro. Nudge by Kelechi John on Arabuli. Joining the little Georgian contingent is Arabuli in Isuzu Ute A-League, along with the two Beckers, Lansmelia and Mikkel Tatza, the Newcastle Jets, formerly with Dinamo Tbilisi and Panionios in Greece, a couple of years in Hungary. He's not played in a fair while. Off the bench for his Bulls debut today. De Silva. Cummings dropping deep to try and set up the play, but it came heavy off the boot of Silvera. And space might open up here for Jed Drew. And that could have gone anywhere. It's a really good clearance in the end from Kelechi John. He had to get that absolutely right.
He did. He was stretching. His body was twisted. You see Jacob Farrell had committed himself forward. Were drawn out. As you say, is that wrong? Then that's nestling in the back of the net.
Marzani on corner kick duty. Up towards Aspro, got on the end of it again. Could have had a couple today. Jonathan Asperopotomitis.
Again, he's just a little too strong, isn't he? Aquilina finds himself the space for the free head.
On for Roos to check on Had a bit wrong. He's had a good game otherwise. He's put his team back under pressure.
Well, Macarthur seemed to be cruising, didn't they? Goal up, 2 goals up, a man down for the Mariners, and all of a sudden the tide has changed. And they look like the team most nervous.
The home fans smelling blood here. He's been the main reason for that. In comes the corner. Kelechi John attacking it. Drops for Garanqual. Little dip to the shoulder. And the curler's just wide from Michael Roos.
Well, they're full of confidence, aren't they? It was a lovely little play from Garanqual. Roos, he's just trying to tuck it in that far corner.
This will tell us how close it is. Yeah, not far off.
Obviously, those two combined so well last week. Roos with 2 goals. Garanqual was the main assist merchant on that day, carrying the defence.
What a weekend of football we've had. Close to capacity crowds in Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney for domestic and international football. Now Garanqual, the headline writer's dream. And a chance here for Silvera, perhaps, to seal the win. Have to settle for a corner. The Bulls hanging on a bit here. The 11 men of the Bulls, remember. Silvera to deliver. Deeper this time. Kelechi John at the back post. Verdict is goal kick. Kelechi John felt it was a corner. I thought he had a case.
On first glance, it looked like he had headed it onto the back of the Macarthur defender.
And a quick release, almost catching Jacob Farrell unawares. What's going on here, Macca?
The ball was outside the 6-yard box, I believe.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Monty's face says it all, doesn't it?
He's just quietly cooking, isn't he? And he's normally a pretty cool customer, Nick Montgomery. So a nudge there by Arabuli. There was. Mariners off on their way again. Silvera. They look the more likely the two teams to win it. Kuol. Silvera. Roos building nicely here in the Central Coast. Michael Roos. It's Garanqual. It's Kuol. And it's Subban for the Bulls. You just thought that was the moment, didn't you? Here goes Arzani at the other end. Strong play, though, from Aquilina. Cummings dropping deep to set up the play, perhaps. Challenger ball by Roos. Aquilina, ball's backpedaling. Here's Cummings. And it drops here for Aquilina. Volleyed away by De Silva, but the flag was up against Aquilina. Oh. Coming together. between Lance Greenshields and Dwight York. And I don't think the Bulls coach appreciated that.
Is that not a yellow card off the ball?
Lance Greenshields saying, get out of my way. I'm running the line. Made themselves hugely popular, I think it's safe to say, the officials tonight. Jerry Skotadis, the latest change off the bench at the expense of Kieran Backus. Midfield reinforcements for the Bulls, perhaps as they look to cling on to a point. For a long time it looked pretty certain as though they would get all three. They still might, of course. Doesn't Danny Vukovic's era seem an awful long time ago? Is there a twist in the tail here? Just starting to spit with rain again in Gosford. Marzani to clip it up. And it's De Silva. Well, he kept it down, but couldn't get the direction. We're going to have a slight delay for the restart. There's a problem with Jonathan Aspero-Potomitis. Sandwich from Daniel Larzani from the set piece. Well, you almost don't want this game to end. It's been such good entertainment in so many ways. Matthew Miller. Drew to fire it in, straight into the midriff of Farrell. He takes ball and all on the follow-up challenge. Skotadis, touched by Drew, now Miller. Just a little off balance, Matt Miller.
Have a look at the Mariners, the way they're trying to get the game on quick. You wouldn't think they were the team with 10 men against 11.
Thomas Aquilina absolutely launched that throw. I'm not sure he had both feet on the ground, in all honesty. So eager to get on with things. Here's Silvera. Held up by Skotadis. Ruse. Here's Garanqual, and he slides it through, surely! Michael Ruse puts his effort wide. He would have been offside anyway. Farrell with the first effort. I'm pretty sure his was a shot, all teed up again through Garanqual.
Fantastic ball from Qual. Really, Jacob Farrell should have done better with the finish. But every time he gets the ball or the ball goes to him, you think something is going to happen.
Well, plenty's happened in this game. Could be an interesting press conference. Another free kick for the Bulls. Again, Arzani to float it this time. Vukovic comes and he claims pretty easily. And a quick launch upfield towards Qual. Being marshalled by Mombwa. Qual for once quite have the range. It's well played by Jed Drew, who's been close to Macarthur's best, the youngster on starting debut. The place had gone so flat, Macca, after Jonathan Aspero had put Macarthur 2-0 up against the 10 men. It sprung back to life, courtesy of those changes.
Well, you mentioned they're very good in the second half, the Mariners. and the attacking prowess and confidence they have coming off the bench, and they've just delivered again, haven't they? That doesn't look good. Sam Silvera, he just went down with no one near him.
Yeah, looks to be in a fair bit of discomfort. One of those changes for the Mariners. Certainly played his part. That's a good sign, at least, that he's trying to get up.
I think just as play goes, oh yeah,
rolls the
there,
ankle.
Yeah, just
That hurts.
yeah.
Gonna try and run it off or walk it off.
That's going to be a sore one tonight.
Mariners still trying to make all the running. It's too deep out for Roos. They'll have two major quibbles, Nick Montgomery's team. Whether the red card should have been in the first half, and whether Jason Cummings' goal should have stood before the award of the first penalty, which ultimately was saved by Nick Schumann.
I'd hazard a guess they'll both come up in the press conference.
You reckon?
I think he's probably got a good cause on both, to be honest.
Into injury time, of which there's going to be 5 minutes. That'll be Danny Vukovic's. Nisbet. Roos went first time. He found Arzani. Skotadis. Out towards Drew. Bushcock. A little bit short, defensive field, and Nisbet was onto it. Quickly won back though by Jonathan Aspro. Mombwa, another former Central Coast Mariners player, of course. Now Miller driving towards the penalty box, and he's continued in his quest to get the return from De Silva. But the Mariners get the decision for Miller's charge into Kelechi John. Just for a moment there, it appeared the Bulls might have the final say. And making a case again here, Arzani. Desperately wanting Vujica to join in. Ultimately he does. Mariners fans appealing for handball. Arzani's cross. It's awkward that for Dan Hall. The Bulls finding their second win late on. Vujica. Jason Cummings, the furthest back for the Mariners. Shy of doing defensive work. And needs must for his undermanned side. Ball over the top, and Roos will reel it in. Is this the moment? Quall couldn't connect. Still alive. Cummings. Nisbet. Silvera back with us. Nisbet. And Quall. And Nisbet. Straight at Schumann. Sheer determination of the Mariners to find a way through. What a comeback this has been. Cummings again. Quall around the outside. What has he got for us this time? Not quite as impressive, but it is going to be a Mariners corner.
He is human.
inspiring their team to one final push to try and get over the line. The 10 men of the Central Coast. Silvera's corner. Hooked away by Jerry Scotadis. Back in by Aquilina. Mariners have been caught with numbers upfield, and Arabuli's ball finds Jed Drew. This to win it for the Bulls. It's Drew! How about that? What a topsy-turvy game, and Dwight York's team have, in all likelihood, won the points to stymie that brilliant comeback from the Mariners. What an incredible 90 minutes. And Jed Drew, on starting debut, has his first goal in the competition.
The Harvey Norman replay will show they just committed too many men forward, the Mariners, and Jed Drew has had a fantastic game today. Had all the time in the world to think about it. And he beats Danny Vukovic at the near post. Great vision, and the early pass from Arabuli, and then it's all about this man. The time, the composure, and I'm just wondering if it took a little deflection. We'll see from this angle. He assesses his situation, and just as he strikes the ball, I think there's maybe a little touch from Aquilina trying to make the block, and that takes it past Danny Vukovic at the near post. Heartbreak for the Mariners, but joy for Macarthur.
And he's deserved that on his performance today, Jed Drew. What a game of football. Is there enough time left for the Mariners to get back level again? We're deep into the 6th minute of stoppage time. Floated forward for Farrell. A game that's had everything. Roos. That'll be the keepers. And that might be that. That is confirmed. Wow. That was extraordinary. A 5-goal thriller. And despite the heroics from Garant Kuol off the bench, it's Dwight York's team who come away with all 3 points. But boy, they had to work hard for that against the 10 men of the Central Coast Mariners. Nick Montgomery's side had to play an hour, a man short. But the changes, again, made it into a real contest after the Bulls had taken a 2-goal lead thanks to Al Hassan Toure and Jonathan Aspro. Back they roared, the home team. Garant Kuol for the penalty spots, and then Kuol again from a very acute angle. But Jed Drew in the final minutes of the game, securing victory for Macarthur. A big, big win for the Bulls. After their back-to-back losses, they had to stand up today. And despite that second-half pressure they did, the Mariners left disappointed. And their World Cup stars will leave these shores disappointed. They haven't recorded a 3rd straight win. But they entertained us tonight, and particularly Garant Kuol. Watch out for him in Qatar. But it's Macarthur who take home the spoils. Central Coast Mariners 2, Macarthur 3 had finished in Gosford. Oof, let's take a breath and throw down to Tristan McManus.
How are you doing? Yeah, I'm with the goal scorer again. Drew, what a game of football we just watched.
Top shift by all the lads. Actually ridiculous. 10 men, and we just kept through fighting. They got 2 goals back. We didn't fight. We fought to the 95th minute. I'm just over the moon.
It was unbelievable to go 2 up, to have a pull back to 2-2, to look like you were potentially going to lose it, and then to finish it off like that. What was going through your mind?
Oh, honestly, my whole legs were crampy. I just saw open space and I just hit it as hard as I can, and I'm just buzzing. I'm over the moon.
Fantastic finish. What does this mean to you guys going into the break?
Oh, it's huge. Like, a few days off now. We go in full confidence. When we're all back, fully fit, we'll have Uli back. You know, boost to the team, and we'll be raring to go when we're back.
Superb. Congratulations. Well done. I'm going to jump straight over to Jason Cummins here. Jace, absolute heartbreak.
Oh, mate. Don't know what happened, eh? Well, you know, we went down to 10 men, obviously made it difficult for us. And then we got back into the game. Got it to 2-2, and then I think we just got too excited, you know. I think we forgot that we were doing 10 men. Like, I think a point would have been a good result for us. I know that we're more than capable of beating them, but, you know, we all went forward at the end, try to get the winner. And we killed ourselves.
I heard from the bench, we get one, we're going to get three. You could definitely see that. As soon as Grant came on, he made that difference. How are you feeling yourself? Was there any chance you were going to take that second penalty?
Oh, mate, I was just fuming, man. Like, the first one's a goal. Like, you play on. It's like not even 2 seconds after, like, the free kick is the penalty. I put it in the back of the net. It's a goal, mate. Like, how many games? Every game there's something for the referees with me. Like, honestly, but you know what? I missed it. And, you know, that's life, eh? You know, Geraint done well. He stepped out, I just let him take it and he scored. So, you know, we done brilliant. As you say, we got back at the game and we just shot ourselves in the foot.
There's plenty more goals in your locker, mate. Best of luck. It's such a pleasure. We're very proud of you. All right, take it. Good on you.